Vampire Diaries is one show I always find myself coming back to, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone. I could probably recite an entire episode if you give me 5 minutes to read Ian's Closet. Many think it's an obsession, so that I say, yeah, obviously. You clearly missed all the amazing beats, tidbits, hidden details, short compositions, themes, shooting errors, things like Stefan's and Elena's relationship, Damon's eyes changing colors, and as such allow me to state my case. Getting into it, the intro is still just as epic as you remember it. Damon plays around with this poor couple. By playing around, I mean murdering for fun, because he really couldn't be more theatrical about it. With the fog flying around, dropping corpses, the whole mother show shebang. I mean, it's Damon, no one does it better. Trust me, I checked. But if we're drawing any meaning from it, I think the showrunners really wanted to make the tone very clear, with darker, edgier, and cooler than a certain glitter-covered vampire trilogy, whose name will never be uttered on this channel, that just happens to be hearing around the same time as ours. Also note the car is on the roadside in this shot, and in the next it's right in the middle. A little bit of that shooting error I mentioned earlier. There's more to come. But that aside, 10 over 10 intro really sets it apart and keeps you intrigued, while they set up other aspects of the show through Stefan's and Elena's voiceover narration. It's a not so subtle nod to the first person dual perspective format of the L.J. Smith books, and also a meta commentary of them literally writing their own story. Elena says here, she will no longer be the sad little girl who lost her parents, but we pan over the very happy family photos to a less than happy face in the mirror, a reflection showing she's just as trapped in that frame as that moment in time of a family trapped in four holes. She is definitely not someone who's moved on by even a single inch. It really encapsulates that theme of grief. No matter how much time's passed, the pain still lingers. After a brief introduction to Jenna, the reluctant guardian, and Jeremy, the little brother you once strapped to a rocket, we finally meet the best girl, Bonnie Bennett, on their way to school. One thing that really stood out was Elena asking Bonnie to prove her witchy powers, and the minute she says, they hit a bed, which could be interpreted as a subtle foreshadowing of the 8-season-long mishaps that's about to barge into their lives, or just classic Damon humor. You know he was watching because his raven is perched on the stop sign. This is also brilliant writing because it's a blatant nod to gothic Edgar Allan Poe, and is also a cheeky way to show Damon's chaotic influence over the town. We then cut to Stefan making an entrance with his hero hair. The view gets ruined by heartbroken Donut Van with his moppy hair, then annoying Caroline with her completely stereotypical main girl blonde hair, and Tyler with his douchebag hair, and Vicky with her collision course hair. What do you mean I can't introduce the supporting cast that way? I'm just tearing a page of the writer's book. They clearly knew what they were doing when they crammed all the introductions into a minute. Cut back to Stefan minute. Cut back to Stefan, who can totally overhear Bonnie fangirling over him. Speaking of hearing, see if you can notice what's missing when Stefan uses compulsion on this admission officer. Did you notice the classic compulsion sound is missing? Doesn't quite have the same mysticism without it. Anyway, Elena goes to give Jeremy a piece of her mind in the men's restroom, and Stefan decides it's the perfect time to say hi. But warn him, if Cargrattan ever looks at me like this, don't call an ambulance, for I have lived. We also get the scene where Stefan bumps into Elena. The meet you, more like the meet unique. I mean, for a scene Stefan must have played a billion times in his head. He either gave this a lot of thought or none at all. Unlike Damon's interaction with Elena at the graveyard when she goes there after school, admittedly he went overboard with the bed and fog, but hear me out, because with the benefit of hindsight, that flashback in season 3 where he met her first, you could say Damon wanted to be there for her, especially since he has been watching her lie about being okay all day. Maybe sad Elena being alone in the graveyard touched his undead heart. She has a way of doing that, and through his demon ways, he tried to have a real interaction with her, then compel it away like he did before. But this time, his antics spoke that off, which inadvertently gave Stefan an opening to swoop in and be the hero. Says here he came to see family. I don't know if this was intentional, but this simple phrase is the foundation for their relationship. We'll get to that in a minute. More importantly, right now, is Stefan finally puts that piercing gaze to good use. Then the subsequent line, "We have history together." Absolute masterclass writing, great play on words, and foreshadowing too because of the whole Catherine backstory and doppelganger shenanigans later on. I would have taken it a step further with an odd reaction from Stefan before he says any English and French. But if I knew better, I would have my own TV series, YouTuber Diaries, patent pending. From that point on, his girl Elena all blushing and flustered before he ruins it by bailing when he couldn't control himself, and well, even she calls a scratch. We then pay a visit to the Salvatore house, the original Salvatore house, not the one you remember because the pilot was filmed in Vancouver before the show was picked up and they moved production to Georgia. Anyway, we get the setup that Stefan also keeps a journal, then more filler scenes of Vicky, Tyler, and Jeremy's love triangle. Something fun happens when Caroline walks in. She confidently spills a bunch of misinformation about Stefan. Wonder where she got her info from. Stefan must be controlling the narrative on what kind of information about him is out there. Because tell me when else you've ever seen Caroline so wrong. His favorite color is definitely not blue. In fact, we've never seen him with anything blue. Only thing I've noticed the June wedding you're going to have. Excellent foreshadowing, not even AOT or Breaking Bad couple or something like this. We then cut to Stefan paying Elena a visit at her home to return her journal. It wasn't under pretense, she actually did forget the journal back at the graveyard. But even at that, I still can't help but think he hoped she would invite him in. Especially now that they have more in common, he also keeps a journal, and it says something that really resonates with her. Memories are too important. Line which ties back to her theme of grief and moving on. There's even a possibility that she might not have realized that's why she keeps a journal until this moment. The interaction was enough to have her invite him to the meetup at the original Mystic Grill, where they learn, guess what, have more in common. But unlike before, this time it's like super personal, more in common, almost like they are parallel of one another. Both have lost their parents, they live with their uncle/aunts. Elena even asks if he has any siblings just to confirm, and the answer is yes. They even have a rocky relationship. These bits and pieces from the graveyard to her house now pay off at the grill, forming the foundation of their relationship, especially in Elena's circumstance because just like in real life, no matter how much anyone tries, no one can really relate to the pain of losing a parent until they do. Elena must have felt so alone until Stefan came around and nearly knocked her down at the entrance of the boys' bathroom. I'd like to say this is what's caused Stefan an invite to the back to school party at the Falls, but that's what Caroline is getting. We didn't get more filler scenes. When I say filler, I want you guys to know I mean crucial exposition scenes that I cut out because it's basic TVD law and this video is getting way longer than I bargained. Something I like to help with is at the Salvatore house where we meet Uncle Zach for the first time and Stefan opens this cupboard. There's this lingering shot on one I assume is a scarf. I originally thought it belonged to Catherine because I misremembered her having one in this photo and she wore this hot one in the later season, but I was wrong and now I have no idea, so I've only got whoever's watching this video to help me out. Meanwhile, at the party, Stefan overhears Elena admits is a little pretty and he doesn't blush him. He promptly rejects Caroline and goes to say hi to Elena. One thing I would like to comment on is the great use of extras in this scene. They might have actually just thrown a party and made Nina and Paul continue acting while everyone else has fun. Maybe that's also why they leaned heavily into the blow effect this time around. It has been going on all episode by the way, but I didn't bring it up because it's one of the exposition devices director use when they want you, the audience, to focus on one particular thing in a given scene happened here, and here. On their walk on the bridge, Elena recounts the story of how her parents died in the accident, which is more exposition by the way, but more than that, it's about the response Stefan gives. Elena was probably expecting the usual, "I'm sorry, that's horrible, condolences babble that she has been getting all summer," but that's not what Stefan says. Stefan says, "For someone who has been feeling suffocated, it must have felt like a breath of fresh air." And Stefan doesn't stop there. He just kept saying the right things. It served as a window to his mind, and at the exact time what Elena needed. No one said needed to hear, at least until his vampire factor ruins the moment again. I might have a little theory about why. Hear me out. They're on the bridge and Vicky is getting sucked dry in the very not fun way during the next scene. What if these two scenes are happening at the same time? And since we know Damon is also at the party, maybe he did it out of jealousy and Stefan just happens to catch a whiff of the blood. Or maybe since Stefan has been saying the right thing so far, this time Elena finally echoes it back, offering a window into her mind, and Stefan couldn't stop himself from having a little accident. Anyway, they find Vicky bleeding out in the wood. Stefan's reaction is one of a thing you didn't expect to happen, being exactly what happens. Shit got real and my boy decided to book it. But why, I wonder? We'll get to that. Notice the setup of Matt being suspicious of Stefan. The shot composition here is pure genius. POV shots of them staring at each other through an open flame that represents danger, suspicion, tension. Here we can also say rivalry and jealousy, because Stefan and Matt have a little thing going on with Elena. The pipes have been laying for future conflicts between both characters, like a certain glitter covered vampire trilogy. I can't believe Matt was in the love triangle discussion before the arrival of just from those two words. Even first time viewers already know his trouble. I'm not sure if this is where I should point out the tricky trick the wardrobe department has been playing all episode, but I've already started. So notice how Damon's all black ensemble is screaming, "I'm the bad guy," in contrast to Stefan's brown jacket, who represents the good vampire. Not the good guy, good vampire as in still the same shade, but obviously lighter or better. And this is also in contrast to Elena's white outfit, which is a whole world apart from what Stefan and Damon have going on, because it represents innocence, purity, and all that goody two-shoeness. So subtle and yet so effective. Back to the scene, Damon says, as if to nail it in, that Damon is bad news. His powers aren't one of either. It's actually canon in the books for vampires to have complex powers the more they feed on humans, which is why Damon could fly, control animals in the mist. Stefan had telepathy, Klaus could shapeshift, manipulate the weather, and so on. But since it only happens for the first few episodes, we can say Damon trained his crew to be creepy. He compelled someone to carry a fog machine around. Damon won't want to be just a villain, he'd want to be a super villain. And we all know the difference is. Moving on, Damon provokes Stefan and we get a glimpse of his darker side. Stefan forces them both out of the window, but Damon flexes by chilling on the sideline like he didn't just fall down one story, while Stefan struggles to get up. I tried to figure out at what point Damon left Stefan to plummet alone, but it's just an unbelievably smooth cut. We get some clever exposition about the daylight ring. Then something interesting happens here with Damon's eyes. It briefly glows blue for some reason and it never happens again anywhere else. I looked everywhere for what this could be a reference to, but I couldn't find any. Yes, I checked the book too. Still nothing. My guess is that they were still trying out new things earlier on, but if you know something that we don't, please let us know in the comments, man. After Stefan gets his butt kicked by Damon, we cut to Elena trying to console Jeremy about the Vicky situation. When he calls her out on her bullshit, Elena responds with, "Mom and Dad wouldn't have wanted this." A reflective moment where she's not just reprimanding Jeremy, but also herself. Maybe it's about time she stopped deceiving herself and actually starts trying to move on. The writers keep the moving on theme in the resolution. The main cast acknowledge their need to do so. Elena the pain, Stefan the past. Which is ironic because I'm a sucker for the epilogue of this show and wish we could just rewind and experience them again like it's the first time. But I guess that won't be beautiful. One final thing to point out is the last scene. Stefan goes to see Elena. He asks her and she says, "Ask me tomorrow." As in, our being okay is going to be a process. But then, utter brilliance. Elena consciously invites Stefan into her home, unlike before where she was just being polite. And you can gauge from Paul's brilliant acting with the way Stefan's eyes turn poppy red that it's something significant, something symbolic of her inviting him into her life, finally letting someone in, which is the first step towards moving on. And that wraps up the episode. The pilots had a lot of expectations to meet, and the showrunners engineered it perfectly to deliver on all of them. Especially with the exposition, you never notice the amount of things you learn about the Vampire Diary universe in just this episode. Truly something you have to put a lot of effort to accomplish. For those of you still here, you have no idea how many times I almost called it quits. So I really mean it when I say thank you, for you're the ones that make this worthwhile. I'd be more than happy to keep this going if you enjoyed this. So please leave a like or let me know in the comments. Have a great one. Hope this isn't goodbye.